Mm, mm. Hey, hey, y'all. Hey, hey. I am so excited to be here with you this evening. I am coming to you from Zimbabwe. I'm in Victoria Falls, Zimbabwe. But I'm not here to talk about Africa. I'm not here to talk about Zimbabwe. I'm not here to talk about any of that. I'm here to talk to you about Panama. Because if there's one thing viewers of this channel are interested in, it's Panama. If you are watching me for the first time and you want to talk about Panama, you're in the right place. If you're watching this on the replay, hey, 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 leave a comment. Let me know how you're doing. Let me know what questions you have about Panama. But don't leave a question because I can't answer questions about Panama. Which is why on the screen I am here with a guest today. I am here with Charlotte Van Horn from Black Expats in Panama, and she can answer questions about Panama that I've never been to Panama. I don't have it. But Charlotte is here. Yes, 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 yes. So Charlotte, thank you for being here. Thank you for being here with the audience who I know is really going to appreciate hearing from you about a country that is very popular upon expats. And if you don't mind me saying this, it's also very popular amongst senior expats or people who are looking at retirement.
Hmm.
So I'd
That's
love to
true.
talk to you about that too.
Hmm.
Thank you. A little bit of housekeeping. Neither Charlotte nor I are at home right now. I'm in a hotel room. It has no overhead light, so we're gonna have to figure something out. It is 6 p.m. where I am. Sun goes down at 7ish. So if you see me in the middle of the interview, get up and have to do some things, you know what's going on. Also, I am using my phone as a camera, and my laptop has all the details. So I'll be looking down from the camera to look at the comments you guys are making, and to look Charlotte in the eyes, even though that's not how it works. So I'm not ignoring if you see me looking at something else. I'm just trying to make this hotel life work. Thank you for being here,
Excellent.
Charlotte. Welcome, welcome,
Thank you.
welcome. All
Thank
right, let's
you.
talk about it. All right.
Go, go, get it, go, go, get it. Panama. Hey, hey.
Oh, all right. Okay, so for everyone watching this, Charlotte, I'm gonna assume some people watching are new to you and some
Hmm.
people are big fans. I like that's how I like to go through life.
Yes.
Whoever I'm talking to, someone's a big fan and
Yeah.
someone has no idea who I am. That's how I move through the world. Now,
Yes.
there's also the people who don't like me, but that's they do not equate in my calculation. They are not part of it. You don't
Yes.
know me or you're a big fan. Those are the
That's
options.
it. That's it.
That's it. That's it. So, for the people who don't know you, let's get a little bit of background.
Okay. So first of all, thank you for having me on the show, Rashida. I'm
Pleasure.
so excited to be here, even though it is 8 o'clock in California, which is where I am at this moment. I loved our little boogie break before we got started because it gave me some little energy. And I want to say too that you have such a radio voice. You have
Mm,
such a radio voice, and when you watch you on the videos, you have to learn your rhythm because you speak in pauses. So you just have to learn to just be quiet and let Rashida finish her thought, okay? And then I have a niece that speaks that way. And then the other thing that you just said about the people over here and the people over there. Sometimes when you have personalities, and I think some of your personality is akin to mine, right? There is no middle spot for us. There's not anybody that's going to say, Rashida, there's not, you will never hear nobody say, Charlotte's You're going to say, they're going to say, I can't stand her or I love her to life. That's it. There is no middle. You're either going to love us or you're not love us. And I focus all my love on the love. That's it. So with that said, I am
yeah.
Charlotte Van Horn, CEO and founder of Black Expats in Panama. Black Expats in Panama was created in 2019. My husband is Panamanian, and we purchased a home in Panama in 2012. Okay, and so I knew then that my Spanish is still not that good looking. It was like it wasn't looking at all back then, and I knew that when we retired, or when he retired, because he's like 9 years older than me, and we came to Panama, I was going to need to do something to make money. Back then, I was ignorant, didn't even know the fact that I couldn't do regular jobs, that you might expect because of the protections that Panama places on its professions for its people. But I said, I thought about some of the women that I had seen in Panama, where the Black women, because that one thing I like about Panama too is that we look alike. We look like Panamanians. So everybody speaks to me in Spanish until I open my gringo mouth, okay? And so I said to myself, what can I do that doesn't involve administrative stuff, which is my skill and my background, because I don't know the language. And I thought about some of the sisters that I had seen here, with their natural hair, not having good perms, puffy on the roots and straight, and, and just having issues with the weather and their natural hair. And I said, they're not ready for it now, but maybe they'll be ready for sister locks, which is what I had back then. Maybe they'll be ready for sister locks by the time I retire, which we had like a 7-year plan. And so I learned to do sister locks. And sister locks was so good to me that I retired from corporate America after doing sister locks for part-time for only 5 years. So once all that happened, and then we started making the plan to come to Panama, I started this Facebook group. The Facebook group was started because I knew that my client would be an expat. I knew that the typical Panamanian, first of all, didn't know anything about sister locks, and second of all, didn't really have the financial resources to pay for them because it's a little bit of an expensive hair system. And so I started looking for Black expat anything online for Panama. I never saw it. I kept going back to it, back to Facebook. I kept looking, Black expat anything, never saw it. And then finally, the Holy Spirit, I'm very spiritual, y'all. The Holy Spirit said, build it. You need to start it. So I started a page and I started a group, same name, and had started a name and started a group. And then when I would go back and forth to Panama, because my husband and I, we didn't live in our home. We would just come back and forth like twice a year, 2 weeks, putting things in and setting it up. And I would go and just put little things that was happening in Panama on this group. Over the first year, the group grew to about 200. Okay. And then, because it was May of 2019 when I started it, May of 2020, George Floyd, Karen in the Park, Donald Trump, and COVID collided that day in May. And everything changed for Black expats in Panama. So the group went from, all of a sudden, I started getting all these pings and all these people wanting to get in the group. And they were asking questions like, what is Panama like? Are there Black people there? What is the healthcare? Do cops kill people there? What is the safety and things like that? And then it dawned on me that I could not answer those questions. I was in Panama in a whole different situation. My husband's family was here. I was never really like an expat, never really had researched that stuff. Ultimately, I ended up becoming a relocation specialist because of the people in the group that were asking questions, and I was just trying to meet the need. So I already had an attorney. I had another source help me find a realtor to work with, and we started pulling together other resources. I said, my tour has to go to Cologne. Cologne is the Black area in Panama that everybody says spooky, don't go. They say spooky, don't go because there's a lot of beautiful resources in Panama and in Cologne. And it had worked up until then. And everybody told me, don't go to Cologne. Why would you go to Cologne? I said, I'm not bringing Black people to Panama, and I take them to Cologne, and I need Afro Panamanian tour guides to tell the story. And that is how Black Expats in Panama began. That was the set. I built it in COVID. I built this entire business during COVID.
That's amazing. Love to hear it. I was taking notes because I have questions. Now, Vera, who's in our audience, who moved to Panama, she's in the audience now from Dubai. I'm going to tell y'all.
We traveling.
You move out the country and all of a sudden there are no borders. There are no borders. There are no borders. Mm-hmm. So, okay. When did you start? You started Black Expats in Panama in 2020 or 2021?
2019. I started the Facebook group in 2019.
Okay. When did you move to Panama full time?
November 2021.
Okay. What was it like having the group before you were there? What was the group like at that time?
The group at that time was primarily people that was just interested.
Hmm.
So I knew more than they did,
Okay.
yeah, mainly people that were just interested. And there were a few people in the group that were there. And what I did come back to Panama once. I did come back to Panama like periodically, and then I would do stuff or just try to track as much as I could,
Okay.
but not
Awesome.
there. The first meetup we did, Rashida, was November of 2019, and that's the first time I took the group
Okay.
off the Facebook group, off the
Mhm.
computer, and had us meet in person. And it was
Oh,
a
nice.
pretty good turnout. We went to a jazz
Good.
show, and I was
Hmm.
like, "This is pretty cool," And then COVID hit.
Of course.
Yeah.
Um, Panamanian husband, huh?
Yes.
Tell us more. Tell us more.
I met my husband almost 31 years ago. I met him in Biloxi, Mississippi, of all places. And he was in the Air Force, and I had just needed to get my life right. Okay. So my girlfriend, I moved from Jersey to Biloxi. And my girlfriend, I went there and I stayed with my girlfriend initially. And I met my husband almost as soon as I got there. And the first thing that he said to me, that's that I always know that's why God sent me to Biloxi. But the first thing he said to me, he was like, "Well," he said, "Where are you from?" I said, "Where are you from?" And he said, "Panama." I was like, "Oh, that's nice." And my story is I'm just as ignorant about geography as possible. I'm like, I don't know who Panama is,
Hmm.
where Panama is, or what it is. And and then he said, "When I retire, I'm going to go back." And to be
Okay.
honest with you, Rashida, I was like, well, that's nice. Because, when you meet somebody on the first day or the first week and they talking about retirement, that's like 15 years down the line, and talking about moving to another country, you're like, I probably ain't going to know you then, but that's nice, you
Hmm.
know.
Good
But
for you.
yes, yes, but we stayed together. We still
Mhm.
together, getting on each other's nerves, but we still together. But that's how I ended up in Panama because of my husband.
Okay. So a lot of women in this space feel like they're the ones that have to do the work to convince their husband to move abroad. But your husband was already like, this is the plan before he even knew you,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Because
Hmm.
did he have to do some convincing to get you to move to Panama?
No, he didn't because it probably took me. We were probably together almost 10 years before I visited for the first time. I
Okay.
visited Panama in well, more than 10 years. I visited Panama for the first time in 2004. And when I did, back then I still wasn't thinking about retirement or anything like that. And when I visited, I was like, this is nice. And Panama has improved 100% over the last 20 years. And but even with it having less conveniences and modern things back then, it felt right. And I think
Okay.
it is one of the things that I love most about Panama to this day. So as we started to come back and forth, visiting his family and everything like that, I could kind of see it. He didn't have to. He didn't have to work hard to convince
Okay.
me of that. Mm-mm.
All right. Um, since you've moved to Panama full time, what have you enjoyed the most about living in Panama?
I think honestly, it's so hard to put in words, Rashida, and especially for people that haven't experienced it. But like, for example, when I got to Biloxi, okay, let me just digress. Remind me what you asked me because I gotta tell you
All
the
right.
story.
All right.
Okay, so when I got to Biloxi, I didn't want to go to Biloxi. I thought that being down south, I'm from Jersey. I'm very ignorant, by the way. Well, I'm still a little bit ignorant, but I was very ignorant back then. And I finally decided I had nothing to lose. I got on a train. I moved to Biloxi. But before I went to Biloxi, that very train, like 2 weeks before I was to leave, derailed. It was the worst accident in Amtrak history. It went off and 47 people died and everything. I called them people up. I was like, I ain't going. Get my money back, right? Amtrak said, oh, sorry, dear, you have a non-refundable ticket. And that's the only reason I went. Because I was like, I ain't got $200 to throw away. Because I left for Biloxi with a 6-year-old and a Foot Locker from Kmart, cost $17.88. I had $11 in the bank. I had $11 in the bank, but we gonna start this thing over, me and my boo, right? And everything just fell into place as we started out there. But I remember when I got to Biloxi, finally got to Biloxi, and I was riding down this road they call Beach Boulevard. Just this feeling of peace came over me that I get emotional thinking about it. And I just knew that I had done the right thing and I was in the right place and I was going to be okay. And I tell you that story. I feel so proud. I remembered your question. I tell you that story because that is my experience with Panama.
Okay.
It's the peace for me.
Okay. I'm going to ask the other side of the question. What have you enjoyed the least about living in Panama?
Probably, I think I've accepted it, but probably just not being able to understand everything that's being said. You know, the fact that I got to work so hard at Spanish. It's hard work.
It is hard work.
That, and hold up. But there's, you know what? That's not completely true. I think the thing that I like the least, them geckos, honey.
Oh.
Them geckos. Oh, I can't stand them. I'd rather see an iguana than a gecko.
Okay. All right. So the geckos are not treating you right.
Yeah. We have a better understanding now than we did when I first moved here. It's like they stay outside. I wouldn't go outside at night.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to be at people's house if they had their door open because here the geckos usually come out at night. I mean, the geckos kind of ran my life for a while. And I just had to give up on that and I have to cohabitate with them.
Mm-hmm.
They just have to stay outside my house. That's all I ask. And so far, they're pretty good about it.
Okay. So they're staying outside. You have a better relationship with them now. What are the other what else are you dealing with? Are there a lot of mosquitoes?
Not where I live, but I took a video the other day and I didn't post it, but I don't know where did you grow up, Rashida?
I grew up in Southern California.
Okay, so you might not know nothing about, and you younger too, but we used to have mosquito trucks come through our neighborhood. I grew up in a rural place in New Jersey, and that's why I'm crazy today. I swear it, because the mosquito truck would come and they would have all this white fog, and we were like, "Here come the mosquito truck," and we would follow behind the mosquito truck in the smoke, and they let our fool tails do it, right? And they have that still in Panama. So they come down the street about twice a week during rainy season. And I don't have mosquitoes at all at my house. But if you go near the beach or, if you're near water at night, that's when you kind of get them mostly. Or I guess if you're in another area. I live in the suburbs. Not a lot of green around me.
All right. I just feel like if there are geckos, there should not be mosquitoes. Because what are you doing? If there are lizard and mosquitoes, why are you here? Right?
Well, Rashida, you know something. Maybe that has something to do with it. Maybe that's why.
They should be eating all the bugs I don't want to see.
Maybe I do need to thank them because I'll kill a spider, but I can't stand no mosquito. They hurt. So maybe that's why, because I don't have hardly any bugs in my house.
Okay, that might be it.
Well, thank you for that, Rashida.
That might be. Listen, I feel like if I have to see a lizard, it should be doing its job.
Exactly.
Now, here in Zimbabwe,
oh Lord,
last night, a literal gang of mongoose ran down on me in the hotel.
Mongoose?
Mongoose.
That's like what's the mongoose?
It's got the long tail. It's got some stripes around.
It's like a monkey?
No, but see, when we got to the hotel, they said we would see warthogs and baboons or monkeys. Now, I don't truck with no monkeys. Monkeys,
Okay.
baboons, primates, keep it away from me.
Exactly. Me
We
neither.
don't belong in the same space
Yes.
because you think you're cute. I don't. I don't trust you.
Okay.
I don't trust you. But so last night when I saw this little thing running on the grass, 30 little things running on the grass, I thought
How
it was,
big
I'm
are
like,
they?
I'm sorry? They're like,
How big?
they're like this big. They were like,
Oh
but they're
God.
long. They're long with like a smallish body. But I was like, That's not a warthog." But they said, "Look out for warthogs," and it's not a monkey, so I figured it has to be a warthog. It was not. It was a mongoose. They didn't warn me about mongoose. They all ran at me for 1 minute, and I was like, "Absolutely not," because. But I saw the mongoose last night on the hotel grounds, and then I saw last thing I saw last night, and then I saw the mongoose this morning. So they are clearly hotel guests. If I go to
Okay.
sleep and you're here and I wake up and you're here,
Yes.
you you're and I'm in a hotel, you're a guest of the hotel. Cuz if I didn't want you here, you wouldn't be here. So
Yeah.
what do you do? What do you add to the property besides trying to run up on people? What do you I need to listen. If there are animals outside, I need to know how you add to my immediate ecosystem, and if not, you
Yes.
got to go. The monkeys just be
Exactly.
stealing stuff. They just be stealing stuff. They said, "We can't leave our windows open because a monkey will come in our room, throw everything around, take what they want, and leave."
They devo you.
They, she said, and they will come in and knock everything everywhere. Just monkeys will. You cannot leave
Wow.
your windows open because a monkey will come in. What do you add? What are you adding? I hear what you're taking away. My
Yes.
ability to safety. You're taking away my safety. What do you add? So that's how I feel. Sorry. Sidebar, y'all. So sorry, but that is how I feel about like animals. So
Yes.
lizards, I need to know what you're doing. You're eating some insects. Thank you. Okay. But like a monkey? What?
And lizards, well, geckos, I have come to accept that they're really not interested in me. um but I'm nosy. So when I walk into a room, some people walk into a room, I shouldn't say I'm nosy, where I am, but I'm observant, could use that word too. People walk into a room and they look straight ahead. I don't. I walk into a room and I'm a 360, that bad boy. I'm looking at the floor, I'm looking at the
Mm-hmm.
walls, I'm looking at the ceiling. So I always see them. I will spot a gecko anywhere. But at the end of the day, like if I see them on the window, if you see them, that means there's something there for them to eat, because that is all they care about in life. And if they're like
Amen.
near you and they trying to, like, they're on the window and they saw something or they waiting for something and you try to like tap the window, they be like, nah, girl, you gonna have to wait till I get my dinner because I'm not leaving until I
Yes.
do. And then my son-in-law told me, he said, Mama Shy, he said, what is with you and geckos? Because they live in Florida too. They live in
Uh-huh.
Florida. And he said, there's nothing that gecko wants in this house. And that kind of helped me too. So I'm getting better, Rashida.
Okay. But not like, yes, eat you see something you want to eat. Eat it and go. Eat it and go.
Eating
They're
right.
in the comments talking about mongoose eats snakes. I know, but there are
Ooh.
like 40 mongoose and 0 snakes. So clearly they've done their job. They need to go somewhere else. Go some No, the way that one of them made a noise at me yesterday and they all ran in my direction. I was like, see, this is not I'm running in the hotel grounds to get away from because if you can kill a snake, you can mess up my ankle.
Okay.
You can
Now,
kill a
is
snake,
it in
you
the
can do a little something to my
countryside?
ankle. No,
So it's not in the city?
it's no, it's we're in Zimbabwe. We're out by the Victoria Falls, so it's country enough.
Okay. Yeah, I don't do
Oh,
country well. Mm-mm.
Glamazini said if a mongoose leave, the snakes come back. I just need them to be gone for the 4 days I'm at this hotel.
Yeah,
Y'all act
exactly.
like I'm
Just take a
asking too much.
break.
Oh, like we looked up we saw baboons, no monkeys. And listen, the baboons here. I was in a business establishment today. The baboon walked in one door, strolled through, and walked through the other door, and nobody moved at all. And I was
Like
like, I can't live
nothing.
like this. I can't. I don't. Mm-mm. Okay. Anyway, this is such a sidebar.
I know,
Anyway,
but you know
Panama.
something, Rashida, it's good to talk about because I mean, if you haven't grown up with those kind of things and you just don't have, a
Hmm.
natural love for nature and animals and the kind of person that's curious about those kind of things, it can affect your visit. I haven't been
Hmm.
to Costa Rica for that reason. I booked
Okay.
to stay at Costa Rica and I canceled it because I just knew I wasn't going to be comfortable. And to me, that's not a good time.
But what animal or what do you think would be different in Costa Rica than Panama? What are you expecting to be different?
Geckos. And not to be different, but I control my environment when I'm at home, pretty much. If
Okay.
I'm in a hotel and it's all lush and green, I don't have not nary a piece of grass on my
Okay.
property. It's all tile because I'm not
Okay.
inviting them there. But look, Costa Rica just seems so green and lush. And the hotel that I was staying in, I could tell. I said, I know they just gonna have space under the door. I just wasn't comfortable.
Okay.
I know,
All
I
right.
know. Pray much for me.
Listen, I hear you. Now, when I went to Costa Rica, I stayed in two. Here's the thing. Here we go again. I stayed in two places. One in San Jose at a Hyatt. Nothing. No animals. Beautiful hotel. Just what you would expect. No geckos. Then we went out into I think the Atlantic side, out where the brown people are.
Yeah.
And where we were, there were some banana trees right behind us. So you know who showed up? Mr. Monkey. If there's
Wow.
one person I don't want to see, I don't trust them. Them and their little beady. I do not trust monkeys. I
Me
don't.
neither.
Mm-mm. Anyway, we're not gonna keep talking about animals.
Okay.
We're gonna breathe through this moment. We're gonna breathe through this moment. Like Charlotte said, you have to be curious about what is out there. But
Yeah.
I do think we need to be curious about what is out there, but not make assumptions. I remember on this channel, someone left me a comment once about I live in Mexico City. If you're watching this for the first time, you don't know. I live in Mexico City. Someone asked me once, "What do you do about all the snakes there?" And I was like,
In Mexico
I know
City,
there are a lot of snakes there. What do you do about all the snakes there? And I'm like, that's like saying, what do you do about all the snakes in New York City? Like I live in
it's a part of Mexico.
I live in a mega city, right? There's
Mm.
no, if you're walking down Fifth Avenue in New York, you don't see snakes. And it's the same. It's just like
Right.
I'm not out in
Right.
the country. So like, you know what I mean? Like I know in some parts in Mexico, probably closer to the southern border, you'll see snakes or there would be snakes somewhere. But like I live in
Well, sometimes for some reason, I think when you move abroad, some of the questions that people ask you, they almost like clump the whole country into one question. Like, is it crime in Panama? Um, where? I mean,
right.
is it crime in the US? Is it crime in Mexico? There's crime everywhere. If you want to know the areas where crime is more likely, that's one question.
Hmm.
But it's for some reason it just seems like blanket questions sometimes. And I think that's just about exposure and just thinking, oh wow, if something happens in Panama, I say, oh, I heard this happened in Panama. I say, oh, that's nowhere near me. And I guess it's just the unfamiliarity of the
Hmm.
other country.
I think that yes, the that familiarity, the lack of it, totally get it. But I also
Yeah.
think that people, I'm gonna say something, and I know Charlotte's gonna
Oh
agree. She
dear.
might be nicer about it than I will, but I know she's gonna agree. People aren't always asking the right questions.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times they are asking completely, not just like the right, but like you're asking the wrong people.
Mm.
Give me an amen on that one.
Ooh, Lord, oh Lord of
Asking the wrong,
mercy.
you're asking
Amen.
the wrong people. You're asking the wrong questions, and you're not asking the follow up questions. There are a couple questions. Listen, Charlotte, what is a question that gets asked that you hate when you hear it? You're like, this is not going to lead you anywhere good. Do you have a question like that?
Um, no, I don't think I can't think of anything in particular. Just like blank. Oh, I do. Okay. I'll tell you what kind of gets me is people say, how much is a decent apartment in Panama?
So hilariously, what I was going to say was the question I hate is, especially when it's asked about a country, how
Yes.
much does it cost to live there?
How much is
Because baby,
Yes. Yes. And then it's all objective. It's like, how do you want to live? Where do you want to live? What is your criteria? People say, what's a nice hotel? Well, I mean, that all depends on what you expect. So I think that sometimes, yeah, people just don't think it through, or I don't know how to answer that,
but
because it
okay,
depends on you.
the other part of that is that people in Facebook groups answer the question with not enough detail. And that I'd be like, someone will be like, how much does it cost to live in Mexico? $400 a month?
There.
You're not going to tell them how you live in? Because you you are somewhere at $400 a month, you either do not have doors or windows, or
Yes.
you've been
Yes.
living in that same place for $400 a month total expenses. Like you've been living in that same place since 1985,
Yes.
or you are on the beach in a hut with no air conditioning, right? But like
Exactly.
you don't add on that last part. You know what I mean? Like if you tell someone what your cost of living is, I need more information. Like
Yes.
what is your lifestyle? I'm so sorry. Once again, another tangent. It's my pet peeve question.
No, it's people do ask that, and then I just break it down to them, that it just, you would definitely need to give me more information for me to be able to help you with that. And then because we get so many questions and everything, I started consultations.
Mhm.
I just can't, because not, I just can't be on the phone, with 24 people an hour each person, right? Because then I'm not getting any work done. But I always say, when you start talking about, relocating, that you make a very important point, Rashida. You need to know who to ask the questions to, and don't just automatically assume that the person you're watching on YouTube really know what they're talking about. Okay, there's this thing about YouTube called money. Okay, and people like it and they want to get it. And sometimes you'll see videos that have these catchy, titles, and you click
Mhm.
on it. The information is not that good. So make sure that
Nonsense.
you vet the information that you have.
Mhm.
Use the internet in a way that it best benefits us. And I always say, even for me, I do cultural relocation tours. People come here to look at property, to buy. We are squeamish because this is a new territory for us. Unfortunately, most of us did not come from um, parents and grandparents and great grandparents who had homes in Costa Rica for the
Mhm.
summer, snowbirding and things like that. So it's kind of, we're pioneers with this major Black movement that we're doing. But what happens is, and I've seen it, I've been doing tours, we get ready to celebrate our third year. They come, they see, they make the right choice. They come and they go on a relocation tour. I think it's very important. There's other relocation tours. Of course, mine has the cultural component too. But I introduce you to the professionals, so you get to answer. You get all these questions answered by bona fide people,
Mhm.
not folk on the YouTube or not people with opinions in a Facebook group. Okay, so you get all of that information. But what happens is they go home and then they got to pray about it. They got to fast about it. They got to talk about it. They got to ask people who don't know nothing about it for advice. And then what happens is, by the time they get back around to what they saw that they liked or whatever, it's gone. It's gone. The opportunity's gone. The price has gone up. The place has sold out. And so it's just about getting the right information and not relying on sources that, you got to vet your sources.
Mhm.
People kill me being online, being the expert about getting residency in certain countries, and they don't have it themselves. I can get third party information anywhere. I'm just saying.
Some things were said there, but I want y'all to hear because it's important. It's important. A lot of people just want to make a video to get some views. There'll be an expert. If you're an expert in one country today, there'll be an expert in another country next month.
Mhm.
Please. Anyway, all right. So, a couple questions. Let me ask you questions people are asking because
Okay.
that's why they're here. This is from MB2. Good morning. I visited Panama City. Is it Boquete? How do you say that?
Boquete. Mhm.
And Coronado
Boquete.
last time. Boquete and Coronado last summer as a solo traveler. I'm planning on visiting again this summer. We'll make it my retirement home. What cities would you recommend? Okay, MB2. We don't know anything about you, but Charlotte, can you tell us a little bit? So we can't. Charlotte can't recommend a city, but can
Mhm.
you tell us a little bit about those three cities and how they're different from each other?
Okay. Well, Panama City is metropolitan.
Hmm.
Some people say it reminds them of Miami. Panama City is definitely a city. Everything is there.
Okay.
High rises. Lots of traffic. Everything is very accessible to you. Lots of entertainment, restaurants, business offices, things like that. Very hustle, bustle.
Hmm.
Great views. Panama has some of the greatest views, like the hotels that you get. Panama has this like unique thing where it's like the city views and the water views is like some areas you live in the city, you just see everything. You see the water by day and a beautiful skyline at night and just wonderful views. So that's a city that, and he said he visited these already. Boquete. Boquete, I would say for me, it feels a little bohemian a little bit. It's like somewhere between Bohemian and Valley Girl, kind of stuff. It's like people who want to be more natural, people who want cooler weather. It's very hot in Panama City, very cool in Boquete. For me, I would not leave the United States to go any place cold, and Boquete can literally get pretty cool. They're known for their coffee. It's kind of undeveloped roads. It's very rustic, very beautiful if that's what you're into. A lot of green, Scorpios, snakes, monkeys. Um, you know, if you're into that's that. However, I think it's a little less to live there. Panama City can be a little bit higher on the, on the rent side. Because you got Metro Rail through Panama City all the way to the airport now and stuff. So and they're constantly expanding. Panama City is pretty dope like that, but you may not be interested in that kind of crowd. Coronado is the about an hour and a half or so from Panama City. It is a very popular place for tourists to move. For me, I take groups to the Coronado area every month during our tour, and it's just gotten so there's really nothing to see in Panama and Coronado anymore. Really, it's like the areas around it are growing and developing, but I mean, there's very little to see. So we've expanded and we go to different places that are in the Coronado area, but there's not a whole lot to see there right now. The roads are very rustic. It's not like a beach town where you would go and expect a lot of activity and things like that. It's to me it's rural. It's very rural, and it's not a place where I would want to be. Um, all the time. Maybe a weekend home down there for the great breezes. It rains less. They call it the dry something in Coronado. It rains less there, so that's nice. They have black sand beaches, which is interesting. Some people have never seen black sand beaches, but they have black sand beaches. The water tends to be a little rough, and but so that would be Coronado. As far as other places to visit, definitely Cologne. You definitely don't want to come back to Panama and not go to Cologne. People will tell you, Cologne is bad. Don't go there. But I would say with anything, I like taking organized tours. Go with somebody that knows what they're doing and where they are. I'm here in Long Beach, California, and I need to know where I am, what I'm doing, You know what I'm saying? Because
Mhm.
that's everywhere. But definitely make sure you make it out to Cologne next time. One other city that is coming up more and more is Pedici. Pedici is, I think it's like about 6 hours from Panama City, but apparently I haven't been there yet. Apparently there's beaches and everything like that. And the Black community is growing there as well. So those would be two places that you might want to consider visiting next time you come. If you decide you want to visit Cologne, come on the best day to visit Cologne, which is usually the third day of every month. And that's the day that I take groups to Cologne. All those cultural Caribbean day you see, I usually do that on the third of every month
Why is the third of every month the best day to visit Cologne?
because that's the day I'm going, sis.
Okay. It took me a while. It's late here. I don't do stuff late in the day. It took me a while, but I'm glad that I got there. Thank you. All
I
right.
only
Okay.
do group tours on the third because that is it's part of my cultural Caribbean relocation tour. But I
Okay.
let others come with us on that day.
Okay. Now, what cities do you go to on your relocation tour? Tell us a little bit more about it.
On our relocation tour, we do not go to Boquete. Even though if you want to go to Boquete, I can, hook you up with somebody to take you there. But what we do is we take you in the city. We do the city. We do the suburbs. I live in Brisas del Golf Norte, which is a suburb of Panama City. So we always go there because I just love Brisas. Brisas is about 15 minutes from the airport, 15 minutes from the city. Love it. Right off the corridor. So we see the first full day. We see the city. We see some high rises. We see high rises and some right now we're looking at this one small investment property called the Nook. That's super cute. We'll go there. We go to Panama Pacifica. We go out there. They have an amazing project out there that has like a 40-year plan that's beautiful. It was where the old U.S. base was. I think it was the Army base. I think it was the Army base. And so we go out there because that's all new and nice. And they have the highway is coming out there. They're expanding the highway, the train. It's just a lot going on there. So we see these places, the city and the suburbs. And the other place that we take you is Coronado. As far as seeing units and things like that, we take you to Coronado. And that's the Coronado area. And we also take you to Cologne. And to Cologne is a little more tricky as far as finding the projects to show and things like that. So we focus right now, we're expanding this year, but we're focused right now on knowing the culture and history of the Black people of Cologne. And so that's where we go there.
Okay.
Other
That's
cities.
awesome.
Hmm.
Now, another question related
Okay.
to tours is when is your next relocation tour?
The next relocation tour is March 1st. March 1st, our relocation tours are from February to September, March from the 1st to the 5th every month, and then December 1st through the 5th. I do a sisters retreat in January, so I don't tour then. And then we also do not tour in Panama in October and November because those are the months that are most likely to be wet. And I don't want the tour to get rained out or people coming all the way and south. So the next one is March 1st. Praise God. The March tour and the April tour are sold out. If you go, you can get on the waiting list. Sometimes people change what dates they want to take. The price of the tour is $1,750. It includes everything from your transportation, from the airport to the hotel and back, everything that happens on the tour, all the entertainment, all the meals. I think you're responsible for dinner on 2 nights, but we have a reception dinner on the first night that starts at 7. And we have a lawyer, a realtor, a moving company, insurance broker, and a doctor, my favorite doctor, Dr. Duncan. They all come and introduce themselves to you. They're at your disposal while you're here, before you get here, and afterwards. So that's a really good time. You meet the experts. The cologne day is like a let loose. We finna turn up and have a good time. Bring your libation, baby. Bring your bathing suit, hunty. If you ain't,
Okay.
it's my favorite. Okay, okay, I'm sorry. It's my favorite day.
Your
And
favorite
you
day.
know something, Rashida? Rashida,
What?
I've done that tour.
Hmm.
I never bring a group here and not do that tour. I'm probably about 28 to 30 times. I ain't
Okay.
never, ever, ever got tired of it yet. The
Love it.
energy, the flow, the vibe. We eat at a black owned restaurant, beautiful black owned restaurant in Portobello, Cologne. We see the Black Christ. So it's like a tourist. It gives them a break, because my tour is, it's a little bit of a boot camp. We get a lot in over those 5 days, and you got to come and be ready.
Okay. I've been making a list of questions for you while we're doing this.
Okay.
But the first thing I want to ask you is, you talked about black owned restaurants.
Okay.
Now I know Panama is a country with a large black population. But do you ever face any issues being black in Panama?
Um, I think that, comparably, no. If I
Okay.
was just to compare it to the United States, I would say no.
Right.
If you ask the question, like, do I experience racism in Panama? I believe I have.
Okay.
I believe I have. It's a different flavor. That definitely a different flavor than the United States, but it does exist. The
Okay.
difference between Panama and the United States is that, even though I'm black and some people might feel whatever kind of way about that, they're not going to go too far with their stuff, because I have green. And even for me, being the businesswoman that I am in Panama, I'm looked at as money. You know what
Okay.
I mean? To connect with
Okay.
me is to, so it's not as bad, and it must be, and it's probably a lot more undercurrents.
So it's, just to dig into this a little deeper.
Yes,
You're black, but you also have money, which kind of balance, you're seen to have money, which kind of balances that out. Is that based on where you go or where you spend your time, that the assumption is that you have money, or is the assumption that because you have that blue passport, that's really what is balancing it out?
that part.
Okay.
That part. That's the main part. So and like I said, when you open your mouth, that's when they know when I open my mouth, that's when they know I'm not Panamanian.
Okay.
And so I have just learned, really, that we are super, super hypersensitive, about racism, because we've experienced it so drastically, in the United States. So what I have tried to do is not allow that to be my default.
Okay.
And it's like, okay, I'm gonna get this chick. I'm gonna give her like 10 seconds, and I'm to get her act together. Maybe she's having a bad day. Maybe this ain't got nothing to do with me. Maybe, so I process that now. And then if it's still crazy, then I'll go ahead and get with them. But for the most part, people in Panama, I think what makes it tricky, Rashida, is that there's no real black and white in Panama. Everybody melanated. Everybody
All
is
right.
melanated. And you don't never know who you're talking to.
Okay.
You got women here that press their hair and look like what we would consider an average Latina,
Mm-hmm.
but they really black.
Okay.
Their mother might be black, their father might be black, their grandma. You don't know who people are. And they really pride themselves on diversity. But I think that you will hear some Afro Panamanians say, I call BS on that.
Okay.
So this is my story, okay? But to hear some Afro Panamanians talk about it, they call BS on the whole diversity kumbaya thing.
All right. Generally, if you see if you see a woman who looks like you walking down the street, is she going to acknowledge you in any way? If she's Panamanian generally.
That is a good question. I would say no.
Okay.
I would say no.
Is it
Not
the kind of
generally. Not generally. That's a very good question. Not generally. Now another African American will,
yes.
but not necessarily a Panamanian woman.
Now, do the majority of Afro Panamanians claim the Afro side?
I wouldn't dare to say that I know the answer to that.
Okay.
I know that most of the Afro Panamanians that I know do. But those are the people that I know, and I kind of move in cultural settings. You
Hmm.
know what I'm saying? I kind of move in, I'm definitely, Black power.
Hmm.
So it could be that it's my people, but I wouldn't say that the majority. Okay, what I can say is that they did a census,
Hmm.
and I think for the first time they had Afro on there,
Okay.
and I want to say, and I hope I'm not wrong, but I want to say over 30% of the people identify as
Okay.
Afro, as Afro, you
Okay.
know.
So it's something that I think I'm a little I'm not sensitive to, but aware of because living in
Mhm.
Mexico, I'll see someone walking down the street and I'll be like, "Do you know your family? Like, do you know? Like, I don't know.
Yes,
I don't know." Because, like, you know, they give you the look away, and I'm like, I can see your nose and I can see your hair. So, baby, like, and it's, you may not know it, but you're very
yes,
much a Black person.
yes,
Like,
yes. And
um,
a lot of people can pass for something else.
okay.
And a lot of people probably do, especially when they decide to come into the United States. I had a woman from DR, come into my yard. And I had to call the cops on her. This is back when I was in Virginia, and she refused to get out my yard. I owned a shop, and
Hmm.
I owned a shop, and it was on a corner, but I owned all that land next to it, so it looked
Hmm.
like common property. But baby, I paid to have that grass manicured, and you
Hmm.
need to get up out my yard. I was watching her from my salon, and when I asked her, she was like, "You don't tell me what to do." She didn't believe I owned the building.
Of course
And
not.
it would always happen like that. The cops would come and they would say, well, where's the owner? Okay, or if the fire marshal come, they want to see the owner. Why I can't own this building? That's what I'm
Right.
trying to figure out. But my point was, don't let me get all crazy. But my point was, I said, get her license. I said, because I'm taking her to court. She trespassed. And I did. I sued her tail. But you
Did
know
you?
something? I should damn Skippy, I did. You don't be coming up in my yard and tell me you're not gonna go. Shoot, back in the day, you might have got a beat down. But today, the more sophisticated Charlotte will take your ass to court.
All right.
Okay.
All
Yes,
right.
indeedy. She got a misdemeanor on her record for that mess. But um, you know what was on her license?
Well,
White.
yeah.
That girl wasn't no more white. She wasn't no more white, but if you can come to the US and claim white, everybody thinks it's better to be white.
Hmm.
Straighten your hair and pass. They've been doing it for centuries. We've been
Um,
doing it too.
I'm saying we've been doing it too. But
Yeah.
yeah, that is something. I don't know if you see it uh in Panama, but in Mexico City, it's something you see is that all the women, not all the women, that's not fair. Um, I was speaking to a hairdresser once who told me that the women do not care about the cut they get generally when he sees his clients. He was speaking about his client base, but they
Okay.
all got to be blonde. They all got to be blonde. All that
Um,
brown hair is getting turned blonde. They do not care. Like the cut could be crap, but the color must be blonde
wow.
because we gonna inch a little closer. We're gonna inch a little closer to that whiteness.
Yes. Yes. It's unfortunate, and then you'll have people here in Panama that say, I'm Panamanian. And then there's one thing they say that I still don't completely understand it. They say 100% Panamanian. I don't know what that means. I don't know if that means your mom is Panamanian and your dad is Panamanian, but are we really 100% anything?
Anything. Yeah.
I always, I mean, I adore it because, they love, to me, it just says, I love my country and I'm proud of it, because you will never hear me say no mess like that, about
I'm
being,
100%
ever,
American.
ever, never, never, ever. So I love that they love their country so much.
Hmm.
But, there are people that don't want to be identified as Black. And quite frankly, I just respect that.
Yeah.
I'm more careful. I don't necessarily, like, I support Black owned businesses, whether you think you Black or not.
Right.
Um, but I'm not as free using that term in Panama as I am in the United States, because, you'll have some people push back and say, y'all want to bring all that mess over here. Well, actually, it's already here. And there's already a great, segment of your community that is claiming Afro, Panamanian, and wanting to support each other. But it's not for me to tell
Mm.
Panamanians what to do, think, or feel. So I just do me and keep it rolling.
I heard an animal noise from outside, and I just. Mm.
Oh
Anyway,
gosh, they coming
and
for you.
it's loud enough for me to hear it through the closed windows. Mm. Anyway, we do have people here who will say things like, "There is no, I hate that. There is no black or white here. We're all Mexicans, or
That part. That part.
except, except, why are all the rich people white?
Why are all the white people? Why are all the light skinned people on TV?
Why are all the light skinned people in power?
Yes, exactly. Why are the white people owning everything?
Are we not okay? Okay, yes. There's no race here. There's
Exactly.
nothing
There's
but
that.
Mexican. Great.
I
Okay.
always look at the TV. I'm very sensitive of what I see on TV. And I know I used to, when I used to watch the news back home, um, if y'all ain't have no Black anchors, I wasn't watching you. I was not watching you. So it's very, I see things like that. But like I
Hmm.
said, I come with a different kind of baggage. Like I had an incident where we used to go to this particular place, and we would go and I would allow them to have a vendor or vendors there so that they could make money and my group could buy things from them. And this one woman came with white dolls. And I said, do she have to bring white dolls to serve my people? And I said, I mean, I'm saying white dolls are triggers for us. White dolls and certain things that are triggers for us. And, you don't want to bring all your drama to Panama. But however, I'm bringing you business.
Hmm.
And all I'm asking is that she leave her white dolls at home because we don't want them. Okay. So I just think it's things like that we're sensitive about, and some other, melanated people in other countries
Hmm.
are not, but the one thing that you learn, Rashida, as you continue to go to more and more countries, is that the United States got the doggone patent on racism. And it is the one gift that they gave everybody, you know?
Well, to be fair,
Okay.
they brought it with them from other countries.
That's it. That was the
Now
gift.
they polished it up real good.
Yes.
They made it shine, they made it sparkle, but they did
Yes.
bring it from other places where it already was. So, to be fair.
Well, I know that, for example, the U.S.
Hmm.
Um, the U.S. came to Panama when the canal construction,
Yeah.
and the first thing they did was separated people.
Mhm.
And instead of it being black and white, Jim Crow was gold and silver,
I have heard
gold
about
and
that before.
silver,
Yes, I have heard about that before.
gold and silver. Yes. So we learned all about that, during our tour. And, one other thing about our tours, I mean, I love our tour. I'm very proud of what we've built here. And, the other thing about it is, look, it makes people vacation and look at what they're doing differently. You can go anywhere and zip line and, get on a yacht or whatever and come back and say, oh, that place was beautiful. But take some time to connect with the people there for real, and see the similarities. The last thing that the powers that be want us to do is to really connect, because it's a lot of us, honey, and you don't have to go back to Africa to find your people. The diaspora is real.
We are
Okay,
the
it
global
is real.
majority.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. So as we're going, and people aren't used to seeing large groups of Black people travel together. What I'm finding, because I take groups to other places too. I take people to places to show them Black culture and history in those places, and you always come out connected. But when people see us rolling through, girl, the look on their face. And it's like, and this is in other countries, even in Africa, when I took a group to Egypt, and it's like, okay, so what, we're not supposed to be out in Africa? Really? But what it is we're not supposed to be able to vacation in Africa. That part.
Right. And quite frequently, we are not treated as well as other vacationers
You're right.
in brown
You're right.
countries. But that's we gonna put that on the shelf for another day.
Okay.
We're gonna put it
Okay.
away.
Okay. Okay.
Um, I wanted to ask you, they're in the comments cutting up, but
Are they?
let me go back to my thingy. Okay, Kay, this is actually, I'm gonna ask this question right now. Kay said, I'm 24 and moving to Panama next year. Are the men fine? I just need to know.
The men are fine, baby.
Okay.
Panama has some beautiful. Let me just tell you. Panama got some beautiful men, and Panama got some beautiful women. So when you come, make sure you bring your A game.
Okay.
It's
Right.
beautiful people in Panama. Yes, they are beautiful people because they're all mixed up. Beautiful people.
Now, that actually does remind me of a question I was going to ask you. Your tours are all Black people. There are 4 Black people.
Primarily, I don't tell white people they can't come, but
Okay.
it's for Black people. And if you come on
Okay.
my tour, you need to realize we're going to be talking about things that you might not be comfortable with. But we've had biracial couples come in and things like that. One time, one lady brought her best friend with her, and I don't have a problem with that.
Okay. Now you do something that I don't do, and you
What?
allow men in your group.
Men, yes. Oh yeah. We're an open group.
You're an open
It's
community.
all inclusive. But then what I do is I do subsections. You know
Oh,
what
do
I
you?
mean? Oh yes. Oh yes. I have single and satisfied. I have couples. I do things with the couples. We break off into business. I don't do like a women's thing per se, but I do events with women.
Okay.
I do, so we break off. We have all kind of segments.
Okay. Um, Tell the people why it's so much easier to work with women in this world than men.
Is that a trick question? Rashida, you know what? You know what? Listen,
Woo!
I'm gonna say this.
What?
Whether it's a man or a woman, when it comes to working together, it's about their intention and their
Mm-hmm.
integrity. I have worked with some women where I'm like, okay, girl, but I have women in that I have worked with, and it's like one of the criteria. I don't be around everybody, Rashida. I don't. And you ain't getting
Mm-hmm.
in my inner circle. If I don't, it's about trust and stuff like that. I think for the most part, why people probably like working with me is that I'm detail oriented. I do what I say I'm going to do. I'm mature, but I can't really say why it's better to work with women.
Okay.
Not work with women. Okay, but let me have a caveat to that. But I love my women. I absolutely love us. I do a sisters retreat,
Hmm.
sisters in Panama retreat every year, and it's just amazing. And one of the reasons that I do it is because I think we are such a special, unique breed. We
Hmm.
are. There is nothing like being a Black woman. There is nothing. There is no one else I'd want to be. Okay, to have that sweet strength, to be able to be the nurturer and still be able to be the strong woman and the business owner and all of that, and then have other sisters that cheer you on. That's what we do. I think that for the most part we cheer each other on, and I think that we have this unique, uncanny ability to be authentic. Now, of course, just like anything else, there's people that are not that way. And
Hmm.
there are people that just want to take. That's it. And I don't fool with them. I don't fool with them. I don't talk about them. I don't get in no space in my head. I just keep moving. And once I see it, that's it. We're done.
Okay. So Exodus Summit has always been a female only space, and what we find in other Facebook groups, and I'm not saying this is true for yours, because I don't know if I'm in the
I don't think you're in the group. My group.
I'm in like so many expat. I don't know. I
I
don't.
bet. I bet.
I don't know. But what
Yeah.
what I find in a lot of the groups is that the groups. This is not an all men comment. It's not all men. It's not. Don't come for me because I'm not saying this about all men. Harold, I see you. I'm sure you're a very lovely man. But what I find a lot is that women come in and they say their dream, and here comes some man telling them why it's dumb.
Really?
And I'm always like, she gonna do her thing before you do your thing. I guarantee she gonna do her thing that you just said was dumb. Like, if you guys don't talk her out of it and don't let her leave here feeling small, she gonna get it done before you get it done. But I see that over and over again, and I don't know how to get people to cut that out. And I find that it's usually people who haven't gone anywhere or done anything. Like, it's
Mhm.
not the people who are living in the country saying it's stupid. It's the people who you know what I mean, who joined the group, who thought about it once, joined the group, and are at home. That
Well, I think a
come in
lot of
with the
that
really
has to
negative
do.
energy.
I think a lot of that has to do with their administrator.
Okay.
Okay, because you're not finna do that in my group, period.
All right.
You're not finna do that. And if you see, people come in and they watch the flow. They see
Mm-hmm.
what kind of
Yes.
conversations you're having. They know whether or not they can get there and act a damn fool or not. You're not gonna do that in my group. I have had some of the people that probably hate me the most is because of something that happened in that group. It's
Mm-hmm.
crazy. It's crazy. But when you have a group, for example, our Facebook group is probably about 7,600,
Okay.
at this point. Yeah. And
Good
that
size.
is, girl, we decline hundreds every month. Because my group don't have to be big. I'm not trying to prove nothing to nobody. It needs to be quality. And so people have to wait sometimes because sometimes I have admins helping, sometimes I don't, but I'm just not going to approve you blanket. I'm not. And not only that, if you come in and you cutting up, I got people that watch the group and they'll bring it to my attention and we'll go ahead and squash that. But having the groups, honestly, managing a group,
Mhm.
is about one of my least favorite parts of my job. I said it.
I have mostly left the admin of the group
Yes.
to other people,
Hmm.
right? And I get in the group and I comment and I see people's posts,
Hmm.
right? But the actual admin, because you writing me an angry email that I didn't approve your post in the time that you deem appropriate.
Like somebody paying you.
Like, now I got to cuss you out. I was
Yeah.
having a good day. I was having a good day. I didn't hear you come on that BS.
See.
That, why would you write you writing emails about posts? I've already seen you. Here's the thing. I've already seen you post it in 3 other groups. So wasn't that enough?
Mhm.
wasn't that post being in 3 other groups in the time you wanted it in enough?
Mhm.
Why why are you come I don't even I don't admin the group, but when I see you in the inbox cutting up,
Yeah.
now what is this? I think people don't appreciate the energy that you have to
Mhm.
spend doing that work.
Yeah.
But then, another conversation also on the shelf. What I
Yeah.
want to ask you is, what are the reasons you decline people from joining your Facebook group?
Well, I'll just be honest with you. Like, if it looks like a person that, like, why would you be interested in joining this group? And a lot of times people that are not black, they get extra scrutiny, because I'm not saying that you can't join, but but I look at your profile like I look at other people's profiles, or we look at other people's profiles. I do have help, sometime. And if you're a MAGA, like, why would you want to be in this group? So sometimes the main reason that people get declined, I have nothing to do with. It's on auto decline. If you don't answer the group questions and you don't agree to the group rules, you are not approved, period. So a majority of the declinations are automatic. It is the post that really get hairy,
Yeah,
because here's the thing, and let me just rant for a second. Just
come
give me a
on.
second. I get this thing that happens. I built this group, Rashida. I didn't take nothing from nobody. I'm just saying, I didn't take nothing. I didn't even ask your sorry ass hand in marriage. I did not take anything from anyone to build this group. Not to say that others have not done that, and that's fine. Do you, okay? But here's the thing: I built this group one at a time. And for you to think that you should be able to come into my group that I built and nurtured for 3 years or so, and just advertise your business, blow yourself up with the 7,600 people that I've taken time to cultivate and bring into my fold, and not acknowledge that you're using my platform to do it. Not to say, hey, girl, listen here. I got this service that I'm offering. I'm wondering, is this something we can? No, I am not here to build your businesses. I'm just saying that. Okay. And then don't tell me about black owned businesses. Okay. Because guess what? I'm a black owned business. Black Expats in Panama is not a Facebook group. It's a Black Expats in Panama is a trademark. Black Expats in Panama is a LLC in the United States. Black Expats in Panama is a SA in Panama. Black Expats in Panama is a licensed tour operator in Panama. And so I'm not just out here playing. I'm
Mhm,
invested in
mhm.
this. And if you can't support me, why should I have to support you?
Yeah.
I don't
I
have
think
to. I
I
don't
think
have
what
to.
yeah, what people lose in the scheme of all of this is that you're protecting your group and your group members.
Yes.
Because if one person can come in and do that thing, is everybody else going to be able to come in and do that one thing?
Exactly.
And them scammers be showing up quick.
Yeah.
Quick, quick, quick. You open
Yeah.
that door a little bit, here they come. Creep it on into that small, small crack. So I totally get it. I totally get
And
it.
it's got to be one, you got to be fair. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? And now, where people, like, you can do some things that are admin approved, but I'm just telling you right now, there are people that are perfectly willing to benefit from what I'm doing in Black Expats in Panama. Never say hello to me. But then there are people that are willing to support me in the things that I'm doing. They're the ones that you will see posted on my page. And I don't have to
Hmm.
apologize, explain, or get anybody's permission to do that. And nobody pays me to do this. Okay, and I said what I said.
I heard you. Heard you. All right. A couple more questions from the audience. I want to ask this one first and then the next one. Charlotte, I visited, this is Celeste Ray. Hey, girl, hey. I visited Panama Pacific and it was still in the development stages. What would be the closest major hospital, or have they built something besides the clinic?
Actually, the clinic closed.
Ooh,
Um, yeah, if she's talking about Mike Kelly's clinic, that clinic closed down. Good question. I don't know if you have to come into the city or if they have a plan to build something out there. Can you send me a message? Send me an email, and I will get that answer to you, because I'm really not sure exactly what is the closest hospital. But
okay,
Panama City is probably only about what, 15, 20 minutes from there. So
okay.
send me a message, Celeste.
All right. Okay, now I'm going to my list of questions now because I get to do that because I'm in charge.
It's your
All right.
show.
We talked about Panama City, the high right. Think about the black woman you know that like a nice life. The ones from Jersey, your home girls.
Mm.
Think about one specific homegirl. What's her name? What's her name?
Karen.
Yo, Karen, your luxury homegirl, Karen.
Yes, yes.
If Karen moved to Panama City next month,
Mhm.
about how much would Karen be paying to live in Panama City? So total all in.
Okay. All in. I would say Karen would probably be living. You talking about rent, utilities, food, and
Everything.
everything.
Transportation, everything. All in.
I would say that Karen could live the way she wanted to live between 2,000 and 2,500 top.
You lying.
I ain't lying.
Okay, now describe Karen's apartment for me real quick in this
Okay.
scenario.
So
Yes.
in this scenario where between 2,000 and 2,500, like she could maybe have, and for her, she would have, maybe a high rise, not too high, in the city. She could be in the city overlooking the water, have those views that I'm talking about, and maybe, be spending $1,500 for a really nice place, maybe two bedrooms, either two bedrooms and two baths, amenities in the condo unit, like gymnasio, gyms, and let me throw in my little Spanish word, gyms, pools, social areas. Yeah, in Panama she wouldn't drive, so she could walk to most things, grocery store, things like that, get out there. To go from point A to point B within the city limits of Panama on Uber is like damn near free. I am here in Long Beach and I am tripping. I am tripping out. Okay, but I'm not going to go there. These Uber fees are like, I'm like, almost don't want to give a tip. I'm like, dang. But anyway, it's not their fault. So,
Hmm.
yeah, she could do Uber. I think that 2,500 could, get her some. She could do some nice dinners. I mean, I think that she could live. I think that she could live on 2,000, 2,500 a month, especially if she can get her place to be around, 1,500.
And that's doable. A $1,500
That's
apartment, two bedroom, two
Yes,
bath, doable.
very
Okay.
much, very, very, very doing. That's a nice apartment. Like, like there are certain areas where people pay less. And,
Okay.
like you said, people go somewhere and they say, oh, I heard you can spend $400 a month. No, not, no. You might be able to do that somewhere in Panama,
Right,
but
but
you're
not.
not doing that in Panama City. You're not getting the views, and let me just say this. That don't mean you shouldn't do it.
Hmm.
Honestly, because and people with small incomes and small retirements, Panama is a very popular retirement place. Don't think that you can't do it. You're the one that need to. I
Hmm.
encourage you, if you don't have your passport, get your passport. If you're talking about, a $1,300, retirement, listen, it's not going to get you the ocean views maybe in Panama, but what is it going to get you in most parts of the United States? You're going to be in poverty. You're going to be in poverty. So the other thing is people get together,
Hmm.
get your home girl. Y'all get that
Okay.
two bedroom. Get something nice. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? Yes, that's what's up.
Little
I'm gonna
Golden
start
Girls
a
experience.
yes,
Yes. Okay.
absolutely.
Now, let's talk about your budget friend. She'll clip a coupon. She gonna know exactly how much money she spends every month. You cannot spend less money than her anytime you go out. It's just impossible, right? She loves to save a dime. She might have it, but she not gonna spend it. You don't have to say her name. You don't if you don't want to, but think about her.
My girlfriends spend too much money. I'm pressed on this one.
Okay, well, I'm
Um,
a make up a friend. We're gonna make up somebody.
okay, we're gonna make up. We're gonna make, and I am thinking of somebody. Angie B.
We
I'm thinking of you. Thinking of you, boo.
Angie B. All right,
Angie
Angie
B.
B.
Angie
How
B.
much is Angie B spending to live all in Panama City?
Girl. Angie B.
Hmm.
That thing could definitely work between 1,000 and 1,200 max. Okay, good. Rashida, these are good questions, girl. And she didn't prep me, y'all. She making me think off the top of my head.
Yeah, I got to make her work for it. She's gonna work for it.
But
All
it's
right.
a good question. Oh my God, those are good questions. But you're right. She could go because you can get yourself a nice little apartment in the city for 600. Now it might have the those windows that you crank,
Yes, the
you
crank.
know, the crank
Yes.
windows, and you might need to throw a screen up in that piece.
Okay.
For me, I would have to, you may not have all of the amenities, but hey, you're in the city, you have access to things. And I think that you could do well. You could do well. Oh
All
yeah.
right. Now, Angie B. Tell me about Angie B's apartment real quick. What's it look like?
Okay, Angie B is not going to have anything that she doesn't need. Now, the last diva, Karen, she don't really need two bedrooms, but she ain't gonna have nothing less ever in her life. Okay, Angie B would have a one bedroom. She said her friend is frugal too.
Yes, she's the frugal friend.
The
Angie
same
B is
girl.
the frugal
She's the
friend.
love. She's the
Yes.
Angie B.
Yes.
So,
Okay.
but she's gonna have one bedroom, one bath. Um, she is going to run one air conditioned unit top. She
So
is
is it
going to be
like
like,
splits in Panama? It's not like
it's not,
same roof.
central
Okay.
air is not that common in
Okay.
Panama. We're looking at some places at Panama Pacifico, and they have central air, but it's one of the few units that I've
Okay.
seen. Most of them have the wall units, the inside wall units, so you have to have one. You have one in every room. Angie B might have one in the main room, and that's going to have
Hmm.
to cool off everything. She's not
Hmm.
going to turn it on unless she absolutely has to. She's going to have the windows open to get that cross breeze when it's available. She is going to really get with the vendors on the street with regard to buying her fruits and vegetables and stuff. She don't have to go and buy everything from the Ray or Reba Smith or one of the other popular grocery stores. You can do that. Angie B is going to take the train and not the who did that? What's that?
My something it's a weird setting that like three people, including Glamazini, Hey Girl Hey, have told me how to turn off, and I haven't figured out how to turn it off. But I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna figure it out.
That's
All
somebody
right.
celebrating. But
Mhm.
she can be able to oh God, what was I saying, Rashida?
You said she's buying her fruits on the
Well,
street, not in
she's
the grocery
buying
store.
fresh fruits
Hmm.
and vegetables. She's walking to a lot of places instead of her taking Uber, even though it only costs you $2 to $3 to go across town. She'll know how to work that train. The train is something stupid, like 35 cents, something crazy like that, inexpensive. And I'm just like sort of a little bit of a transportation snob because I could save a lot of money in transportation in that way, but I just don't like public transportation. I never have.
Okay. You're a
Okay.
Jersey girl. What do you mean?
No, I'm from the
No.
country. I'm from the real
Okay.
Jersey. I'm from the
All right.
Garden State, baby.
From the real
I'm from the
Jersey.
country. I'm country as I want to be. I'm from
Okay.
Glassboro, New Jersey.
All right. Okay. So between Angie B and Karen, we're looking at $1,000 to like $2,500
Yes.
is going to get you in right in Panama City. No matter what your budget is, if you can hit between those numbers, you are good in
Yes.
Panama City.
Yes.
Now, if you have $1,000 budget, you now live in Karen's lifestyle. You live
No.
in Angie's lifestyle,
You live in Angie B's
but you
lifestyle.
still not living in America.
Mhm.
All
Yes.
right.
You're not living in
Okay.
America.
Okay.
Angie
Okay.
B is not going to have cable TV.
All right.
Okay. She's not going to have cable TV. She's going to have a really strong Wi-Fi, and she's going to work her stick. You know, I could be that person definitely when it comes to that. But because all of our rooms don't have cable anymore, I'm just over it. I don't need it. But yeah, she's not going to have no cable bill. She's not going to have no phone bill. You know, she's going to have her, you know, her cell. She might even have a prepaid, honey. And the thing about it is that it's not like she don't have the money. It's just that she chooses to
Mm-hmm. Which one of us is this?
Okay, I'm back. Did I leave?
For a second, yes, yes, yes.
We're back.
I couldn't tell if it was you or
That
me
was
because the
such a
Wi-Fi
good question, girl.
The internet,
That was
the internet said that's enough of that. Y'all out
okay.
here giving everybody what they need, and that's not what we're supposed to be doing. All right, I have more questions.
Okay.
Spanish. You said earlier that you aren't good in Spanish. If Karen speaks no Spanish and Angie B took Spanish in high school, how are they doing in the country? Are they okay? Are they getting around all right?
They are. They are
They are?
okay.
Okay.
Google Translate is your friend.
Mhm.
There are enough people, you know, now and then, enough people from Panama who are bilingual, who are really so nice. If they see you struggling, they will come to your rescue, you know, and help you to have conversations with people. It's not as easy if you don't know Spanish, but they can survive. You definitely want to deal with professionals when it comes to signing contracts, such as your lease and things like that. Everything is in Spanish, you know, so you want to have a trusted individual that you're working with to make sure things are going, you know, the way it should be. But they can survive a lot. That's most of the expats.
Really?
Yes, most of the expats do not speak Spanish. So I started this group called Cafe and Conversation. And as a matter of fact, it was supposed to happen today, but again, I had to come to California on an emergency. But Cafe and Conversation is a meetup that Black expats attend the fourth Sunday of every month. We go to the Grand Ivenia Hotel and we have brunch and we practice speaking Spanish. And for them, a lot of people, it's just they've been in Panama forever and have never tried to utter a word. So for them, it's like just getting to the place where they're trying to speak out loud. I cannot believe how effective it's been. You know, so people do that. We make friends like that. I encourage them to bring their neighbors who want to learn more English. So we go back and forth. We do English and Spanish.
Okay. All right. Good to know because a lot of people are worried that if they don't speak the language of the country, they won't be able to, get around. But glad to know that's not like that in Panama. I There's some very beneficial things about Panama, but before we get there, I want us to talk about the benefits of living in Panama, but I want to look at it in a way where we talk just like Karen and Angie. I want you to tell me a couple of people, 2 or 3 people who would be the right people to move to Panama, and on the back end, I want you to tell me who should not be moving to Panama. So, who's like a type of person that would be a good, like Panama would be good for them?
Okay. I think that the first type of person that Panama would be good for them is women. Because you can come here, women, but specifically senior women, women who have a retirement or a pension, because they can come in under the pensionado program. You get all kind of discounts and things like that. You don't have to work And on the pensionado, you're not supposed to work. So that's a plus. I feel like women can come, and it's good for them because they can land on in a soft place. We have so much safety around you, because of the groups and how you meet people and everything like that. I think that's a good person, somebody that has a a small pension. I think it's good to consider Panama for the reasons that we talked about earlier. Um, and I think that young people should also consider Panama because they can be digital nomads. There is a growing community of younger people here, and some of them come because their parents have come. A lot of younger people are coming now because they can work remotely. A lot of younger people are coming because the schools in Panama are excellent. The private and the international schools that most North Americans send their kids to are excellent. They're coming because it's not a sleepy. It's not a sleepy place. You got the city, you got all these options. You got the city, the suburbs, the beaches, the mountains. You have a lot of options, but younger people are doing that too. Younger people just have to be more strategic about their employment.
Um, okay. You mentioned earlier digital nomads. Is there a long-term digital nomad visa, or how are digital nomads staying in the country legally?
The digital nomad visa is not long. Oh
Okay.
God. I can't remember how long it is off the top of my head. And I think that's why a lot of people don't use it,
Okay.
because you can stay in Panama 6 months on your passport.
On a US passport, you can just come
Yes,
in,
on
stay
a
6 months.
US passport.
Now, if I
Yes.
come in for 6 months and I leave August 1st and I try to come back August 3rd, are they gonna trip? I know it all
Um,
depends, but like, what are people doing when that 6 months is up? Are they doing a border run,
they
or are
leave
they
and they leave and they come back. And you know something? I really honestly I'm not exactly sure how long they have to
okay?
be gone.
Okay.
Most of the people it's a good question, and I know I've heard it before, but I can't remember exactly how long they need to be gone. But some people live as close to the border of Costa Rica as possible in
Hmm.
order to do that. But to be honest with you, a majority of the people that I deal with are not doing that. When I tell you, listen, this is not to even mention all the other attorneys who have gotten a ton of business from our group. Just
Hmm.
my preferred attorney, Giovanna Bernal of Prime Solutions Tax and Legal. She has completed well over 300 residency visas for Black expats in Panama since we started the tours in 2021.
Okay.
That and so there's hundreds, a majority of the people that come through my tours and that come on the page, they get that residency. They get that, and that's what it's about. If you are thinking about a Blacksit and you ain't got a residency nowhere, then once your time is up, you got to go back. But see, with a residency, you have more options. You don't have to go back. And I think that's why residency is important. And if they're really interested in Panama or think they're interested in Panama, I say get your residency. Because Panama is not even like real strict about how much you have to come back and everything. Like I heard Mexico, it's a little complicated, right?
No.
No, they said if you have your citizen, oh, that's if you get a citizenship. Then
Yes.
okay,
Which
that's okay.
most people aren't getting citizenship. Are
No,
people getting
not here
citizenship in
either.
Panama? Yeah, most people aren't, because you don't
No,
need it, right? Like, you
no,
don't need it.
no.
Okay, so there are a lot. Listen, I know I said we were going to talk for 2 hours, and I hope you have some time, but they are coming hot and heavy with the questions, and I haven't even gotten to all
Lord
my
of
questions. And
mercy.
y'all know I take priority because it's what? My show. I'm going to get to y'all questions right now, though, because a bunch of them were about residency. So
Okay.
I know this is going to be one of those it depends questions, but the question is, does it take a lot of time to get residency? Also, is it possible to have dual residency?
Yes, you can have dual residency, and I think we don't want to confuse that with your citizenship. If
Yes.
you're in the United States, you're a citizen of the United States. Having residency in Panama is kind of equivalent to like having a green card,
Hmm.
in the United States. You get some privileges though as a permanent resident. As far as how long it takes, it doesn't take a long time. You got to use an attorney here. You contact your attorney, and I want to say that the first part of it can be done within the first 6 months, and then they reissue. Then they give you a 2 year provisional. So they give you like a provisional in the beginning, and it's like good for 6 months or something like that. Then they give you the 2 year provisional, and then
Okay.
after the 2 year provisional, you get the 5 year residency in most cases.
Now, what kind of residency are you describing right now?
Right now, I'm describing the that would probably be the friendly nation visa to do
Okay.
that, and also the pensionado. And that's
Okay.
a really good question. And you know something, I gotta start paying a little bit more attention to that because I usually just default those. I connect them to my attorney, and the reason why is that for me, I came in differently. I
Hmm.
came in as a spouse.
Hmm.
But it seems that the track, for the most part, is about the same, unless you're talking a red carpet or an investor's visa or something. Those are fast tracked.
Okay.
But people, you get them. The main thing is to find out what you need to bring when you come here. You get that FBI background check. You're going to definitely need that. You definitely don't want to just go out getting stuff because things expire. So some
Okay.
people say, okay, she said I need to get a FBI background check, and then they'll get an FBI background check, and then you can't use that. I think it's after 6 months or something.
Okay. So they
So
got
you
to
want to
make,
make sure you time it right.
I think sometimes people from the US have the idea that other countries are just easy.
Mm-hmm.
I see some people, not our people, but I see other people in other countries being like, why do they need all this from me? They should be happy I'm coming to their country. And it's like,
Wow.
shh, shh,
I
shh,
know.
don't, you don't have to do that. We don't have to do that. Shh. So yeah, so
Yes.
but most places to get residency, you have to pay attention to the details. You have,
Yes.
right?
You
Like
do.
you can't just wing it. And I think people like in Mexico, people are always like, well, you just pay somebody some money. And I'm like, that's like in some places that could work. In some places you could end up in jail. And I am never gonna tell you to do something that's gonna lead you to jail. Just a
Mm-mm.
little light fraud every once in a while, but not like against not against the government, right? Like that's not
I
cool.
ain't playing. I ain't playing. People do that. They want to play games. Listen,
Mm-mm.
and when it comes to, honestly, I'm probably just so used to, like, the reason why some of the details on residency elude me at times is because I don't talk about that a lot. Because you know
Mm-hmm.
what? That is not my lane. That is not my
Mm-hmm.
lane. And I am not trying to tell you something that is incorrect. It's like I have basic information, but sometimes things change. And that's why
Mm-hmm.
you should always deal with I believe in that. Deal with a professional. You can get your base information from lay people, but I'm mostly experienced in my experience. And I would tell people my experience is not your experience. I can
Okay,
only
I'm writing that down. I'm experienced in my experience.
my
I'm
experience.
literally typing this right now. I'm experienced in my
My
experience.
experience. People come,
Because
people have
listen,
uh, backgrounds, like, people say, and let me just say this because, you know, United States, and I say United States because that's my experience. I'm not exactly sure how felons are treated after they've done their time in other countries. But it's so sad that felons have to remain felons, like, or live like felons their entire lives after they've served their time and paid their dues and everything. And a lot of people that are felons, they kind of live under the radar. And when you
mhm.
start talking about things, anything to do with the government, they're leery about it. They don't want to do it. And then when you say background check, woo, you
Mhm.
know, I'm not, and then they automatically think I'm never going to be able to leave this country. I'm not going to be able to do anything. And that's not necessarily true. So you need to be honest, speak with an attorney, and let them know what's going to come up on your background check. And just ask them. My attorney does free consultations. You ask them, this is what I did. Is this going to preclude me from becoming a resident in Panama?
Okay.
And they can either tell you, yes, this particular crime is more than likely based on their experience with a lot of experiences. They're going to tell you this one don't usually fly. But just
Yeah.
because you have something in your past doesn't mean you should not apply or that you should not inquire because it may not be a deal breaker.
Yes. And baby, don't ask the Facebook group. Please.
Yes.
Please. Don't ask the Facebook group.
Yes.
They're gonna tell you something that's not even about Panama. It's gonna be about like Yugoslavia or something.
Well, I
So
had
yeah.
heard that.
I had heard that you can't leave the US if
Yes.
ask ask someone who's experienced in that area. All
From
right.
that area.
Jennifer has a great question I want to get to, which
Uh-huh.
is how is Panama towards disabled women? I'm 50 years old, use a cane, and collect disability. Could I make Panama City work for me? Is residency possible for me?
Well, residency would be, I don't see anything in your question that would preclude you from being resident.
Hmm.
If you collect disability, if that disability is a permanent income, then you could use that to qualify. Particularly veterans, that veterans income is like all good, but you have to have something that says that it's a permanent. If your disability says it's a permanent income, then
Okay.
that's the words they look for. As far as your disability, um, I feel like Panama has come a long way, but they have a long way to go. There are more ramps and things like that to aid people with mobility issues, but it's definitely not at the U.S. standards. There's a lot of people here who do use a cane, and I don't think it would be impossible. But just like you probably have to navigate things that you do now, certain places, I'm probably going to have to plan ahead for this. It would be the same, but maybe a little more. But
Okay.
I think you could do it
Okay. Thank
based
you.
on that. Hmm.
Related question, and I don't know. You are free to say I don't know or I don't feel confident giving this information. Um, for the pensionado visa, do you know how much money in permanent income they're required to have to
Yes,
qualify for that visa?
I do. I do. And
Okay.
that is $1,000. $1,000 is the minimum amount that you need to be making on that pension in order to qualify for the pensionado. And then I think it goes to like if you want to bring a spouse or an underage child with you, I think the cutoff is 21. Don't quote me on that. Like I said, I'm not an attorney, but it's like 250 for each additional person that you're bringing. So if you was coming and you were bringing your wife, you would need your partner, you would need 1250.
Okay.
Right. I do know of a couple that qualified together. You'd be surprised at some of the small pensions people draw. But I do know of a couple that they put their pensions together to qualify. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
that's possible. I'm
Yes,
assuming that couple was married.
that couple was married.
Okay.
Yes.
So if you need to marry somebody to
That
qualify,
couple was
let me know. I'll see what I can dig up for you.
married.
I'm
Yeah.
not for a dating service, but it's just for people who want to move to Panama with small
but
pensions.
but I'll tell you the other thing about that. I'm just, remembering them. They both still live in Panama. And they have thrived in Panama. And if you figure they had to put their pensions together to make it work, to make 1250, that neither one of them had 1,000 by themselves,
Hmm.
right? So it's possible.
Okay.
It's possible.
All right. This is my new business idea. All
Yeah.
right. Kemi asks a question. What's the website that lists the Black Expats in Panama tour dates I'm planning to visit in 2025? It's linked in the description, but Pat, tell us the website.
You can go to, if you go to blackexpatsinpanama.net and click on the tours button, you'll see the Black Expats in Panama Cultural Relocation Tours and the link, and then it'll drop down with the dates. Oh, for 2025, I don't have them out yet. I only have 2024. I'm sorry.
Is it likely to be the same 1st through the 5th?
It is. It is
Okay.
likely. It is likely to be the same. It is likely to be the same. I always probably wait until like maybe May or June, before I put out the new schedule.
Okay. Mm. Looking at the questions that exist
Mhm.
right now. Investment property. Cutie Pie. Hi, girl. Hey, hey, hey. I'm not sure if I'm going to be back in the city when you're there, but if you are, let's connect. Anyhow, she was in the comments. I was seeing stuff. I couldn't talk about it. Let's go now. All right. Cutie Pie
Okay.
wants to visit Panama and Guatemala because I want to purchase a second home to escape the US and have an investment property. Is Panama investment property friendly?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. Absolutely investment friendly. There's a lot of development and a lot of options. I just put out a video today. We have recently partnered with House Hunters Panama,
Hmm.
Francisco Solorzano. I know I probably messed up his name, but he is my guide. They have so many resources. Now, when you're investing in Panama, though, like I'm sure probably some other places too, specifically in the city areas, if you want to invest and maybe do an Airbnb, just be mindful that those Airbnb stays cannot be short. They prohibit the come and go. You're going to need to rent them out, and I think it's 45 days or 42 days or something like that. So when you're buying investment properties, make sure you're working with a professional that's going to give you all the straight answers and details. One of the reasons that I like working with House Hunters Panama is because they also have a law office attached to them that specializes in real estate transactions. Very important because Panama can be very tricky when it comes to real estate, and some things are just not what we expect, like how just anybody can list your property, and there's issues with exclusivity. Uh-oh, where you at? Come on back here.
The
Are
person's
you
well,
back?
someone's about to come in the room, so I'm back, but keep going. Keep going.
Oh, okay. All right. So, yeah, there are definitely investment opportunities here in Panama. A lot of investment opportunities. This is one project I really love it, and it's called the Nook. And they're like really small places, but they everything is like concealed, and it's like if you here and you come here and you want to spend like 3 months here and you want to rent your place out 3 months at a time or something like that, they're perfect. It's in a really good location. They're under $200,000. Matter of fact, most of them are under $150,000. They're almost like tiny homes, but cute, cute, very close to a hospital, very close to, shopping and grocery store. It's like a walkable community. They don't actually doesn't have a parking garage, but it's called the Nook. And if you want any more information about the Nook or things that you might be interested in investment wise, I highly recommend that you contact Francisco at House Hunters Panama. Rashida, are you here?
I'm back. Uh,
Ah!
so the lady was at the door and she's knocking, housekeeping, housekeeping. And I muted myself to say no, thank you, like whatever. She would
Yes.
not go away, but she was delivering wine. So
Oh my goodness.
I could not get her. I was like, I muted myself to say like, no, 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 no. I thought it was
Oh,
her not
that's
to do.
nice.
She
She trying to
insisted that
prepare you. She trying to relax you for the mongooses that's getting ready to come in your room.
she knows. Listen, don't you say that.
I'm sorry. I take it back. I take it back.
So okay, so thank you so much for that explanation.
Sure.
Sorry for having to
No
depart,
problem.
but
No problem. You got this handled, girl.
whew, all right. CK says, is real estate a cash transaction or loans? Are the way I would like to word this question is it possible for is it easy for Americans to get mortgages in Panama without like having established Panamanian credit? Oh, same. Next question was the same thing. See, everybody almost.
Can you get a mortgage in Panama? Most of the foreigners who buy cash, but you can get a mortgage in Panama. Um, is it easy? I don't think so. I think that they require a lot of checks and balances, like they do in the US pretty much. But you definitely, and then they also have, you do developer financing.
Mhm.
Developer financing is a way that people get around it. Another good way for people to come in, and I strong, this is how I bought my house. Talking about my experience and my experience, I bought my house. My husband is a citizen, so
Mhm.
we were able to finance our home. They did ask us for our U.S. credit report, and that was back in 2000, probably 11, when we applied for a mortgage there. So my situation is a little bit different. But if you become a resident, like if you're a non-resident, you're going to be prepared to put down at least 30%. You know,
Okay.
if you become a permanent resident, I recently learned that you can get some of the benefits of a citizen and put down 10%. One strategy for getting into this real estate realm is to go with pre-sale construction. I think it's a great way to go, especially you got to be with reputable developers and everything like that. But the thing with pre-sale is that you put down a deposit and then you have time to pay, and that's how we bought our house. You have time to pay the payments that are made to get you up to 30% or 50% or whatever you're putting down, and then you can either finance the balance or you can pay cash for the balance. So I'm saying that to say, if you go pre-sale, you have time to map a plan and be locked in.
Okay.
Yes.
That's helpful.
Yes.
Um, questions, 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 questions. Oh, another housing question. What's the deposit situation for most rental units? Are the landlords asking for a double deposit? Is it Mexico City is my reference point for everything, but renting in Mexico City is very hard right now. Deposits, the landlords are asking for a lot of things. Double deposit is very, normal, but they're also asking, you to have a landowner in Mexico City who will guarantee your lease. Now, who I know that owns land here that's going to pay
What?
my lease? Yes, it's a very, very common requirement. Um, which is why I'm not moving out of my apartment. Thank you. Thank you. Hey,
Is
girl.
that
Hey, I'll
new,
be here.
Rashida? Is that new?
No, it's not. Okay. It's existed as far as I know for a while, but it's been landlords who didn't ask for it before are asking for it now. Now, almost every apartment, the landlords want you to have that. Before, it was very rare. Not very. It was rarer than it is now. So that's a problem people are having with renting in Mexico City. Are there is renting in Panama City easy? Is it just you show up, you have money, it's done, or is there more to it?
I think it's too easy.
Oh,
I think it's too
okay.
easy.
Tell us
It's,
more.
de- it's definitely too easy because, there had been sort of a trend of people getting into the place because you typically you go in, you put down a month security deposit, show yourself some ID, and you're good. I'm very easy, very easy. You don't have to be a resident. But to get out of the lease was too easy. To get out of the lease is very easy. And what people were doing was going and accepting leases,
Mm.
um, and not knowing whether that was really the area that they wanted to be in. And then
Mm.
you figure, you have foreigner money. And so if your rent is $1,200 a month, and you decide, you know what, there's this other great deal over there. I don't want to miss it. You're forfeit the $1,200 to move. And for a minute, it was becoming a trend and it was getting back to me. that Black expats were doing that, and it was boding negatively upon us. So then when people would start to come, and then if the landlord started asking for credit reports and things like that, you're going to know why. So, and not only that, what they do here, and I don't know who I'm speaking to. Look, I'm gonna go TD Jakes on you. I don't know who this for, but I'm gonna tell you what the realtors are doing now. They're trading information,
Ooh.
almost like the old check systems. You
Uh-huh.
have to give them your ID. They have either your e-cedula, which is your Panamanian resident ID, or your passport, and they are networking within themselves to say this person stiffed us on the lease. And so, what you do that once or twice, you might find it hard to get another apartment.
Okay. All right. You've mentioned the US credit score at least twice. Now, I know in some of these groups, you hear people talking about my credit score is never gonna matter once I move abroad. So what I'm gonna do real quick is get some loans and use that money to in in Panama. There are businesses that use your US credit score to as a data point in your credit history.
It is obviously an option. It
Okay.
doesn't happen all the time,
Okay.
but I think that you need to be prepared
Okay.
for somebody to ask you for that. And
Okay.
listen, let me tell you something too. Don't leave the U.S. crazy. They'll be like a jilted lover when you're trying to come back. You listen. I'm not trying to get. I'm not trying. Don't do it.
I'm
Don't do
always
it.
confused by people who are like, I'm never
They're gonna
going back,
run.
especially if they ain't never left before.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
You never know when you're gonna have to go back.
And even the budgets that we were talking about, Rashida, it's like, listen, don't don't just say, okay, rent's cheaper there, because rent is not the only thing that you have to deal with. For me, I don't think that the grocery stores are inexpensive. I
Mhm.
don't. And especially if you hooked on American products,
I saw
then
them lettuce prices during the strike or whatever
it's
y'all
the
had going on.
protest, baby.
What are these numbers?
They're usually not that high, but especially if you like US products. Like I'm sorry, I'm just Johnsonville sausage girl. I have never met a sausage in Panama that I liked. And
All right.
so my husband pays like $10 for my sausages. And so, but you can get them. But let me just say this: if you have children, there are certain things that you're going to leave behind and certain things that you can pick up. But when you move to Panama, like especially the young people, are you going to put your kids in public school where they don't know Spanish or anything? So when you're working out that budget, there is no public school that your kid is going to go to that's primary English, and you're probably going to need to put them in a private or international school. So that's going to be an expense that you may not have had in the United States. So consider all that. You just can't look at the rent amount. And that's what people focus on. How much is the rent? But for me, taking an Uber from Brisas del Golf Norte, which is where I live, is about 15 minutes into the city. Baby, I cannot do that ride for less than $10 to $12. Sometimes, depending on the time of day, it might be $16. And so, again, it's lifestyle choices. I could put my tail on the train. Train is a mile from my house or some mess like that. But just take those things into consideration. You can't, and if for that also, if you got bills back home, what you think gonna happen to them? They're not gonna go away, and you may need to go home. So don't. I would never. Yeah, make sure you count your coins, and understand realistically what it's going to cost for you to live in a place. I suggest, if you really considering, I mean, and shameless plug that I'm not shame of, I think it's very bright to go on a relocation tour. Get that information, see these areas, and know what you're dealing with. be able to ask those questions. And plus, you get to meet expats who are already living here during our
Which
tour
is
as
so
well.
beneficial. Okay, another pet peeve when people say, I'm moving to this country, but I'm not going to associate with expats because I want to be with the country people. And I'm like, that's cool. But when you can't figure out X, Y, and Z, who going to help you? Right?
Yeah.
Because there's some things I need to, like, the local people aren't giving me the warnings from the US Embassy, which, I mean, whatever, but
Mhm.
for their value. But like, if I can't figure out how to do something if I can't figure out what hospital I need to go to, but
Yes.
Karen knows what hospital I want to go to, right? She
Yes.
knows.
Yes.
I need Karen to tell me.
Yeah. Exactly.
And so it is important that no matter where you go, even if you think I'm gonna just say it, even if you think you're too good for the expat community, go ahead and dip a toe in. Go ahead and join a
Yes.
group and maybe mute it so you don't see the post. But at one point you're gonna be in there like, I need to find this thing out. And they're
Yes.
the ones that know.
They're the ones that we're the ones that know. We're the ones that can help. And I'm gonna tell you something. That may seem like, a good thing to do or cool thing to say before you actually live in that. But
Hmm.
you can get very lonely. It's like for me, I don't want to live in an all expat community. I don't want to live in an all Panamanian community. I'd like a mix. However, comma, there is something very special about being able to say, get my children out of here, and everybody know what the hell you're talking about. It really is. There is that camaraderie that comes from being with people that have experienced a lot of the things that you have experienced, and it gives you strength and it broadens your experience in the country, and you get to experience things together, and you get to have people to relate. A Panamanian is not going to be able to relate to some of my US issues. You know what I'm saying? And so I might be able to have that other person from the US encourage me and say, girl, that happened to me. This is what you need to do. So I agree with Rashida on that.
All right, y'all. We've been talking so long that my computer was like, we about to die. So we're gonna go ahead.
Your
So
light is still good though.
thank you. I got
Yes.
the flashlight
You
from
look
the other
you look
phone on me.
amazing.
We're making thank you. All right. All right, all right, all right, all right, all right. All right. What questions haven't we answered? I'm gonna go back to some of the questions that I have started already. But if there's a question that you want answered, but we haven't asked yet, we're at a 2 hour point. I'm supposed to be getting Charlotte out of here. So we're gonna have to wrap this up. But I think I have an unasked question.
There's a
Let me get to
lot of
my questions.
questions, girl.
Let me get to my questions. All right. Charlotte,
Come back, guys. Somebody
weather
said, I
wise.
want to be happy. I want to be happy like Miss Van Horn.
You saw that? I saw that.
I love it. I love
Go
it.
get you a
It's a
Panamanian
state of
husband.
mind. Oh, I want you to be happy. I
Hmm.
want you to be happy. And let me just say this, Rashida. People are retiring early. They have sold us a bunch of bull that we got to work all our damn lives. We don't. Some people are like, all I got to do, I just need 2 more years, 3 more years, and then I'll be able to get this or that. Really think about that. If you want to be happy, make that a priority. And if
Hmm.
you can make that a priority, if it means losing a couple $100 every month, you don't know if you're going to be here to get that. Do something for yourself that allows you the freedom to be happy. That was such a sweet comment. Thank you, Danielle B. I want you to be happy.
It was. Question for you. Not thinking about your relocation tours, although I think I could think of not thinking about your relocation tours.
Okay.
Someone just coming to Panama.
Mhm.
This is for me because I think I want to visit Panama, but
We
I don't want to
come.
relocate. So I have a question. What month has the best weather for someone to visit?
Okay, now Rashida, that is a question that depends on what you like.
Now you know I don't like it hot. I don't like it cold. Give me a real That's why I haven't been to Panama, and that's why I haven't. That face she made is why I haven't been to Panama yet. I don't want.
Panama hot as hell all the time.
No, I
Period.
don't like it. No, thank you.
It's period. It's hot, honey,
Leave me out of it.
and
I keep saying I
it's
need to go, but I said it's 100 degrees here. I left the hotel at 8. We were back by noon, and my day was over. I only got
yes.
4 days in town, and I had a 4-hour day today, and was like, and I'm done. Clocked out.
So the people in Panama, I think they learn how to get out early and do things. The heat doesn't really bother me. I mean, I guess there's times when it's a little bit cooler, but I don't think anything that's notable. I think that during the summer we get more breezes. So right now we're in summer. We're in summer until May. Like May is when the rainy season starts around about, and the rain is not, the rain is not dramatic at all. It's like every day the forecast will be 100% rain, 90% rain, and people will say, "Is it going to rain the whole time we're there?" Nope, I ain't never had a tour get rained out. But for me personally, there's something about January I love. I think it's more. It's a dry. It feels drier. It's a dry heat. It's a lot of sunshine, and I just love it.
Dry heat. I say heat. I don't like. Humidity is even worse for me. So
Yes,
dry heat in January. Okay, let
dry
me add
heat in
that to my list.
January, and it's not as bad. Let me tell you something. When it does feel a little humid here, and I don't think it doesn't feel that bad to me most of the time. You know what feels worse to me, Mama? DC. You been in DC in the summer?
I'm gonna add you to the list of people I can't trust talking about the weather. My best friend's on that list, love her to death, but she'll be like, I was visiting her once in Vancouver, and I was like, "What's the weather like?" And she's like, "It's like San Francisco." It was snowing every day. That
Oh Lord, I done made the list.
you made the list,
That's
so
funny.
who cannot be trusted about the weather.
That's
Your
funny.
idea of what we're gonna
Yeah.
leave it here, but thank you, thank you, thank you. A great question from Aileen. Hey, Aileen. When you say Boquete is cooler, how much cooler or cold does it get?
I would say that on any given day, Boquete is probably 20 to 30 degrees cooler
Okay.
than Panama, than Panama City. How cold does it get? I don't know. Somebody that's in Boquete asked that. I know I went there and I was like, oh, it's time for me to go. I needed like a jacket. And
Okay.
I've had people go to Boquete and come right back. But for those that like it cool, you know, that's the place. And I'll say this too about Boquete. Boquete is becoming more and more popular among Black expats. There's a very popular video on my channel, but where I sat down with the Blingos. I did a trip out there to finally see Boquete, and they've created their community, and they really overcome a lot of the MAGA racism stuff that's out there, because that's the other part about Boquete.
Okay, so I just got on the map because I do not know Panamanian geography. Is
Uh-huh.
Boquete like it's a mountain town? Is that what's going on there?
I would say maybe somewhat. Don't ask me, girl. I told you I'm ignorant in geography.
Okay, listen.
It probably is, because I can remember like going up a lot, and these little roads,
Hmm.
and they grow coffee there, so it is probably mainly mountainous. There's
Okay.
no like ocean there.
Okay, because I
There's
was
like
gonna
just
say
lakes and streams. Yeah, it is
on
probably considered mountainous.
just looking at the map, it's on the same. I don't know if this is latitude or longitude. Y'all don't talk about me, but it's it's parallel to Panama
To
City. So
Panama
it's not
City.
like it's much north or
Okay.
south.
Well, don't get me to lying, because I've already given that disclaimer.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so Vera says Boquete is in the mountains. Okay, so that's why it's a little
Okay.
cooler. All right.
Yeah, it's a lot cooler.
All right.
It's a lot cooler.
A lot cooler.
But the people that live there love it. I will say that. The people that live there love it. I had one lady said, "Listen, girl." She said she grew up in Florida, and she said she don't need no more heat in her life. I grew
All
up in
right.
New Jersey, lived most of my adult life in other
Mhm.
places, but still on the East Coast. And I don't care if I never see another snow day.
All right. That's fair. That's fair.
Mhm.
Glamazini says it's latitude. The
Latitude.
thing I want to say about Glamazini is I feel like I saw someone talk about this on Twitter today, and I think it's a sidebar, but I'm gonna say it anyway. It was talking about how it feels to be the subject matter expert in your friend group, and I feel like some of y'all in this chat are the subject matter expert on on like totally random things. And she's one of those people too. Where like if I don't know something, she's like, "Oh yes, girl, I know that," and I'm like, Why do you know all these things? Stop knowing stuff. Like appreciate you for knowing everything I don't know, but why do you know? I'm suspicious. I'm suspicious of you. I'm suspicious of the mongoose. I'm suspicious of the monkeys. You know a lot. Thank you for not
Glam knew
knowing.
that too. Glam
Who
knows
knew that?
everything.
Who?
Glam, is it Glam that
Oh
knows
yes,
all this stuff?
Lamborghini. Yeah, she knew latitude. She knew,
Oh.
and I'm like, when I was like, I can't figure out where the balloons came from and all that stuff. She was like, I got you, and she sent me a message, and I'm like, you be knowing things.
Yeah, she's
You're the
smart.
subject matter expert in your community, aren't you? On just random stuff. Yes, I see it. I see it. I see it happening. All right, let me get some more questions. Um, how is internet there? Is it like in Panama City? It's great, but out in the like small towns, it's kind of questionable, or I mean, you're in Long Beach and your internet just went boop boop on us, so I don't.
um, yeah, well, I would say that for the most part, the internet is very good. It is
Okay.
very good. Especially for me, some of my perspective is I've been coming to Panama for a long time, so what it was compared to when we first got our house and
Mhm.
now is like 100% better. We don't have any issues with internet in our house. We stream. I don't have cable in my in some of my rooms, and so I stream a lot. um of course, when I work, I have to have Wi-Fi. But my husband installed another Wi-Fi unit upstairs, so that because for a while there, my Zoom, it wasn't strong enough, it wasn't working good. So it's kind of
Okay.
like, you know, I think it's good. Probably just like with anything else, as you get further out and the services are more spread out, it's probably not as good. But you can definitely, I know lots of people who get their work done here, because that's a big piece for people that are wanting to work here. I was in Cuba losing my mind.
Girl.
Oh, I had internet withdrawal. I mean, it was like, oh my gosh. I was up at like 2 o'clock in the morning, and that was the best time to get on when there was less people on. Trying to get some things done, and even then it was taking forever to stuff to go through. But I don't experience that in Panama.
Okay. All right. Ivy says in the mountains connecting was a bit challenging, but in Panama City's no issues. All right. Thank you, Ivy. Thank you, Aileen. Um, for the pensionado visa, because it's so popular, I do think we should double back on that for a minute. What are some of the perks of that visa? I love hearing this. Tell us, what are the
Okay.
perks of the pensionado
So
visa?
some of the perks, I think for me, the biggest perk is the travel perks,
Okay.
because you get like 20% off your airline ticket. It's 20% off of the base fare.
Ooh.
The base fare doesn't include the taxes, but it makes
Hmm.
a difference. Like, I had to come out to California, excuse me, quickly, and I want to say my flight was going to be like 1100, but by the time they did whatever they do at Copa, it was 900 and something, so you save like significantly there. You get to cut the line. They have special lines for pensionado. Wherever you are, you get to on your restaurant bill, I want to say it's 20% on all your restaurant. They don't have it in grocery stores, which I think is sad. I think it should be in grocery stores.
Hmm.
You get a discount on your utilities. Um, what else? Those are the ones that I think of off the top of my head,
Okay.
and they can come in handy.
So the pensionado visa, what is the age you need to be to qualify for that visa?
Well, that's a tricky question because, you think pensionado, you think senior, but that's not what it means. What it means is
Okay.
that you have a pension.
Okay,
So
so
we
any
have
age as long
people
as you have a
here, yes, but I think there's something special. I don't know that they get all of the senior benefits.
okay.
Okay, they get to come in pensionado, but I don't know that they get all of the benefits that older people get if they
Okay.
have to be of age first. But you
So
can
that's
jump
actually
in.
what I was getting at because when you
Yes.
talked about the discounts, I'm
Mhm.
assuming that's not just for foreigners who get the pensionado visa. These are senior benefits.
Senior benefits.
Okay.
Yes.
So if
Yes.
I'm there on a tourist visa and I go to the if I go to the restaurant and I'm over 70, can I get the discount or do I have to be a pensionado or a Costa Rican?
I've heard I've heard two stories on that. I've heard of people that did get it, and I've heard of people that didn't get it.
Okay.
Basically, I don't think that you're supposed to get it just because you're a senior from another place. Mm-mm.
Okay. But if you have the pensionado visa or if you're a Costa Rican senior, there are discounts available to you.
We talking Panama?
Sorry.
I'm like, I don't know what they're doing in Costa Rica. Yes, the discounts are available to you. Yup, they might not take it in Costa Rica, but yes, and I really appreciate it. I do. I really do appreciate it. So you get little discounts and perks. I guess pretty much similar to the things that you might get in the United States. I don't know that they give discounts on utilities for seniors in the United States. I don't know.
All right. I feel like we could go on forever, but I got to let you go live your best life. It's 10 a.m. in California. You should be in the
It
streets doing something.
is.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and get my day started. I hope that the conversation was helpful, and I could stay a few more minutes if you want me to.
Okay. Um, Let me go back to my list of questions real quick.
Okay, I may regret this.
Yes, yes. No, 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 no.
Your questions are
One thing,
something.
what's one thing you want people to consider before they move to Panama?
One thing I would like people to consider before they move to Panama is that hurt people. There's a lot of there's a lot of baggage that we have as North Americans, and we need to try to leave some of that behind. I think that you need to get your mind right. And it may take some time. Just get your mind right and say, okay, I'm in a new place. It's a new start. Just don't expect everything to be like it is in the States, positive or negative.
Okay. Okay. Um, what is something you want people to know about Panama that you don't think they know?
Panama has an amazing Black culture and a very strong Black community. Before I started doing these tours, and I always have to give it up for Miss Carmela Goburn. She does the cyberspace, the Panama cyberspace news, and she's been doing it for like over 30 years or something like that. And what she did was she kept people connected. So the Panamanians that left, she this little newsletter that she did will come out every month. You would subscribe to it and keep people connected, show people, obituaries and things like that. Somebody introduced me to her, and it was the best thing ever because
Mhm.
she introduced me to the Black culture in
Okay.
Panama. And so I think that the thing that you need to know and what you want to ask for when you're doing anything in Panama is for someone to show you the Black culture and the contributions of Black people to that Panama Canal and everything like that. And when we go on these trips, you never get that automatically. If you want to see what Black people have done in a country, you have to ask for it. So just
But the
know,
white dolls are always there.
exactly. Just know that if you ask for the Black culture in Panama, you're going to get a ton.
Okay. All right. What's funny is that I didn't know that there were black Panamanians until my dad married one.
Oh, your stepmom is a
No,
Panamanian.
no. They're both long past.
Oh, okay.
And he was on wife number 3 when he passed.
Uh-huh.
So she was wife number 2.
Okay.
But yes, for a while.
Wow.
Yeah, I had a
Wow.
Panamanian.
We had
That was fun.
Panamanian. We had a Panamanian woman in my neighborhood when I was growing up, Miss Carmen, and I just can remember her nephew. The only reason I knew that, only reason I knew Miss Carmen was Panamanian was because her nephew used to come to the States for the summer. His name was Johnny Diaz, and I had never met a black guy with a Spanish name. Because
Mhm.
that's the other thing about Panama. Like my husband is Alfredo, and one time we were out with some other friends from Morris, from friends he found in the States. And we were in the U.S. and we all sat down at this table. It was getting ready to be some kind of program. And this guy was sitting there and he says, "So what's your name?" And my one friend said his name was Carlos. And then he asked my husband, "What's his name?" He said, "Alfredo." He said, "Why y'all got Puerto Rican names?" He was so ignorant, girl. He was like, "What kind of name is that for black men?" He said right to their face, honey. Oh, I wanted
Mhm.
to holler. I said,
Mhm.
"Lord, who done sat us with this thing?" Whoo, that
Listen.
thing was funny. But it's just, all of that mix and knowing that there's a major, major, major black history and culture
Okay.
here.
Yeah. And the black history is important
Yes,
there.
it is.
Like in a lot of countries, it is foundational in a lot of ways to what the country is today.
Hmm.
So that's all I'm gonna say on that one.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank
Yes.
you. We did it. Ow, ow,
We
ow, ow.
did it.
We
We
did it.
did it. We
Ow,
did
ow,
it. We
ow,
did.
ow,
So we
ow.
started out with a groove break and we're going to end with a groove break.
Yes,
This
groove
was
break. Ow.
so much fun. Thank you
Yay!
so very much, Rashida, for
Yay!
having me on.
Thank
You got to come
you.
on my show.
I have to come on your show, of course, of course, of course.
Yes.
If you're watching this now, give us a thumbs up. If you loved it, give it a thumbs down. If you didn't, just tell YouTube that you felt away. Come on, do it.
Come through.
Thank you guys. I want to thank Marissa, my lovely, lovely admin, for putting this together because
Yes.
I would be in a dark room by myself right now without her. So thank
Wow.
you.
Yes.
Um, and thank you to every Alfredo is watching this now. Is this your Alfredo or a different
Ooh,
Alfredo?
I doubt it. Who is this?
Alfredo Earl?
No, that ain't Alfredo Earl. That's not my Alfredo. My Alfredo, this guy would have died if he knew Alfredo's middle name is Stanislaus.
Stanislaus?
Stanislaus. That's
Stanislaus. That's a
Stanley.
lot. Alfredo Stanislaus.
Stanislaus. That's Stanley for in that translates to
Stanis?
Stanley.
Okay.
It's yeah,
Stanislaus.
it's
Okay, so
amazing.
we happen to have a different Alfredo watching.
Yes.
Hi,
Hi
Alfredo.
Alfredo.
And thanks to everyone who's watching this. I really appreciate you guys. Now, if you have very specific questions about Panama, I'm gonna say it again. Don't leave them in the comments. Find Charlotte. Charlotte, if they have questions, if they want to talk to you, if they want to reach out, what's the best way for them to get in contact with you?
I think email is the best way.
Okay. Are you willing to
Email is the best way, huh?
mhm, tell us
Yeah,
your email
it's
address?
okay. It's you can send it to Charlotte at blackexpatsinpanama.net.
.net.
Net.
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 All right. Charlotte
Yes.
at bloop, bloop,
Ex-
bloop. Charlotte at
Black Ex-
blackexpatsinpanama.net.
yes. And or you could call and leave a message or WhatsApp me at
Okay.
540-446-5107. That's cool too.
She's putting her number on the internet. Okay, girl.
That's my work number.
That's your business WhatsApp?
That's my business WhatsApp. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. You don't get the other one.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
Till
I'm
we
gonna need
make
to get the other one
contact.
now.
Till we make
Um,
contact.
listen. All right. Thank you. This was lovely as usual.
Yes.
Any Panama conversation, the audience lights up because there's so much value in Panama and people are really
Yes.
seeing it. So questions about tours, ask Charlotte.
Yes.
Don't ask in these comments because baby, I don't have the answers and I don't expect any of my guests to come back to answer questions here. Reach
Well,
out to
I'm
her
gonna
directly if you
try.
want
I'm
to.
gonna try. That's for
Now
sure. I'm gonna.
they gonna leave a
Listen, I
comment two
see it
years
was a
from
lot.
now and say Charlotte said she was gonna try to respond. So Charlotte, 2 years, Charlotte, I need to know X, Y, and Z. Don't do that.
Sometimes I
You
don't
messed
know
up.
how to reply when it's on these though.
It's
That's my
okay.
problem because I do try to respond to
Listen,
everything.
you
I
can't
really
go to
do.
all the
I
places you've ever been on the internet and look for comments. You ain't got that time. You hosting tours. You eating the food.
try.
You got that sausage waiting for
But
you.
don't think, oh stop. Don't think I don't love you guys though, because I love you, I love you, I love you. And there's nothing you can do about it.
All right, all right, all right. Thank you so
Bye.
much, Charlotte. Everybody, goodbye, goodbye, goodbye. Thank you for hanging out. Charlotte, you were the best.
Thank you so much, Rashida. I enjoyed this.
All right, let me end the stream right now. Bye, y'all. See you next week with some other shenanigans. Marissa, what are we doing next week? All right. I will end this now. Bye, y'all.